Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. Oh, folks, is the Bama dynasty over? It's not going so well down there. Also, did Freeze blow it again? He got himself a quarterback. And we're going to talk about the Vols buying up a bunch of tickets. There's reports out there that it's significant. And there are changes to how this game's going to be against Ohio State that could affect how the crowd plays into this game. So let's start in with Bama. Is their dynasty, is it dying? If you look down through here and you look at this portal, they are losing a bunch of great players. Justice Haynes just entered the portal. He was a big-time running back. He was a 5-star. They also lost their quarterback, Dylan Lonergan, who they were fired up about, a 4-star. And you look all down through here, these are huge 4 and 5 stars. Caleb Odom, this fella Coate, who's a linebacker, big-time 4-star. McVay, 4-star. Here's a guy that was almost a 5-star. Otis Hurley, almost a 5-star. Osborne, 4-star. Kobe Prentice, Kendrick Law. All these guys were big-time recruits. And the offense, I don't think that Kalen DeBoer is running his normal offense. It seems like he's changed it ever since he showed up and he realized he had a really good running quarterback in Jalen Milroe. He's just kind of changed everything. And now the running backs aren't getting utilized, the wide receivers aren't getting utilized, and they're heading out the door. And this is a time when you can't do that anymore. You can't sit there with 4 and 5 stars on the bench who aren't being utilized and expect to be able to just, oh, well, they're here for me anytime I need them. Doesn't work that way anymore. They will hit the portal and they're gone. So being able to hold a dynasty is really tough. You know, you don't have Nick Saban anymore, and you don't have those second string guys that could start for any SEC club. Those days are over, and it's not going unnoticed. Here's Kangaroo Black. He's not appreciating what's going on down there right now.
Come on, man. Make it make sense. This staff, through 12 games, have managed to destroy my Alabama Crimson Tide. That's what it's looking like to me. Not only you couldn't win 10 games, not only you couldn't make it to the SEC championship, not only you couldn't make it to the playoff, you can't even keep your current daggone players. Because guess what? You don't know how to utilize them. You just don't. That's the very reason Kendrick Law is in the transfer portal. Kobe Prentice is in the transfer portal. Caleb Odom is in the transfer portal. Now, Justice Haynes. And that just might not be all. Makes no damn sense. Destroying my damn program. Like Bush Jones used to say, brick by brick. Destroying it.
Yep. Now, you got to realize, you know, Alabama's used to always being in the playoff, top 5 all the time, winning national championships. You know, like I said, Nick Saban's not there anymore. And the whole world has changed with NIL, the transfer portal, all these teams that have sat on top with all the talent. The talent is spreading out all over the place. Now, Alabama's still a great program. They're still going to win a lot of ball games. So it's not the end of the world. It just feels that way for the Alabama people because, look, when you've been king for 15 years, it's hard to be second fiddle.
It's good to be the king.
And winning 8, 9, 10 games a year is not going to satisfy the Alabama Crimson Tide. So I don't know if Kalen DeBoer is going to last. I really don't. I thought this was a great hire because he was the best available at the time. He's won everywhere he's been, and he's going to get an opportunity. But if he goes 9-3 again for like next year and then say he does something similar the next year, I don't think he'll last. I could see if he goes 8-4 next year, he'll probably get fired. I could easily see that. It just depends on how much of a buyout there is. But anyway, the dynasty is not what it used to be. Now we need to talk about their sibling, Auburn, who lives in the same state with them. Of course, they're like two brothers. They fight like cats and dogs. And I think Hugh Freeze has done it again. As you know, I was no fan of him sticking with Peyton Thorne for 2 years. And the record bears that out. Now, Peyton Thorne's a decent quarterback. He's solid. But in the SEC, that gets you nothing. And that's the reality. You are in the SEC, Hugh Freeze. You know that. This is not Liberty anymore. And you've coached in the SEC. You can't just have a pretty good quarterback.
It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear.
That's right. The SEC won't tolerate it. Now, we've just found out that Jackson Arnold has committed to Auburn. Now, if you know anything about Jackson Arnold, in high school, he was a big-time 5-star. No diggity, no doubt. But you've seen how he's played at Oklahoma. He's good. He's pretty good. He's not great. He's a dual threat quarterback. He runs the ball. He's willing to run. He's not super fast. He's not sudden. He doesn't scare defenses. I'm sorry, we played against them at Oklahoma. We had no trouble with him at all, and they benched him after the first half. So I'm not quite understanding this, and I gave him 2 perfect possibilities to bring in for 1 year while you're waiting on Deuce Knight to develop, who I think is going to be your starting quarterback in a year. Caden Salter, who he knows from Liberty, fast as lightning, throws touchdowns, doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. He's just entered the portal, so now he's available. It's too late. You've already got Jackson Arnold. John Mateer out of Washington State. He's a guy that's thinking about entering the portal. He just announced, hey, he's going to, spend a day or two thinking about it and going to make a decision. You could have gone and said, yeah, I got some money here for you. Does that help you with the decision? Well, now it doesn't matter. And I'm really confused by this. That's a guy that's put up huge numbers, is a dual threat, and he's played in Power 4. So I don't understand. I hate to use the word settling for Jackson Arnold because he's a good quarterback. He's, pretty good. He's not lived up to the billing. And now he's transferring from Oklahoma to Auburn, who's coming off 5-7. It's a heck of a risk to take. And here's a Locked On Auburn talking about that very thing.
Jackson Arnold appears to be next up on deck, and there seems to be a lot of momentum and expectation that Jackson Arnold, the former Oklahoma quarterback, could be Auburn's quarterback next season.
Yeah, if we just went 9-3, I mean, I would get it. And again, I don't think Jackson Arnold's a bad player, but the time we got to get out of the ceiling business and start getting into the floor business. We need to stop talking chandeliers and start talking hardwood. You got to win on the field. That's not saying that Jackson Arnold can't. From a ability standpoint, I think he's really talented. He can run well enough to execute this RPO system. Yeah. But if this is the guy, this is a humongous gamble by Hugh Freeze because he's not leaving Oklahoma because they did so well that Brent Venables took a job in the NFL and he doesn't want to stick around for the other guy. Like, you took a mediocre player from Michigan State who turned out to be mediocre. So I think he's more talented than Peyton Thorne is, but the result and the time frame for him to reach the potential, if he ever reaches it, if that's the guy, it has to pay off next year. Like it has to be realized very quickly.
Yeah, that's Crane from Crane & Company on Locked On. And I agree with him, man. Now's not the time to be hoping that you've got a quarterback that can reach his potential. You need somebody you know is going to play well because you're coming off 2 bad seasons, and Auburn's not going to sit there and just let you go 5-7, 6-6, 7-5. They're not going to put up with that crap. They're spending too much money on getting quality players, and they're a quality program with lots of good players. This doesn't make any sense going 5-7. It's absurd. And whenever I want to know what's going on at Auburn, I always go to Locked On Auburn. That's always a good channel. And I know most of y'all probably like Locked On. Our guy, Eric Kane, up here in Knoxville, everybody loves him. He is very professional. Now, yours truly, I'm not quite that professional.
I don't look comfortable on camera. I don't understand what's going on in the news. I'm not likable.
Yeah, I'm not quite as on top of everything, but I do have a good time on YouTube with you folks. All right, so yeah, Auburn. Hugh, I don't know, Hugh. I was on your side for 2 years now. I've been, telling the Auburn folks that I think they made the right hire. And you may very well have long-term. You may have to suffer another year until Deuce Knight is ready, because I'm not convinced that Jackson Arnold's the answer to get you through next year and get you to 9 or 10 wins. I think he can get you 6 or 7, maybe 8. I think that's probably the ceiling with him. I'm not seeing it. But maybe by the end of the year, Deuce Knight will start playing, and then, it'll kind of be like Florida, and you're like, hey, it's like DJ Lagway, man. We can't wait till next year. I think Deuce Knight will be that for you, but it's going to be tough next year. It could be another struggle bus for you. And what was funny was I asked my Auburn buddy, said, why is this happening? I texted him and said, why did y'all get this guy? And he sent me this.
He beat Joe Lewis's ass.
That's right, he did whoop Joe Lewis' ass.
And I'm like, oh, crap. He did beat Joe Lewis's ass, which tells you how important the Alabama game is to Auburn. I mean, super important. But if you look at his numbers in that game, I mean, right here, he was 9 for 11 for 68 yards. 68 yards. He did run the ball 25 times for 131, but basically he was a battering ram. You know, it's not like he's some super fast dude. So if you think that's going to last and you're going to be able to run your quarterback 25 times, there'll be nothing left to him after 4 or 5 games. It's just, this is odd. But he did beat Alabama, which is super important to Auburn. So they're like, well, he beat Joe Louis, so I guess we better get him. Now I want to talk about the Ohio State-Tennessee game. It sounds like Tennessee's getting a bunch of tickets, and it may be more than I thought, more than anybody thought. This is a story all about that. It says Tennessee could have an advantage at Ohio State more than what we thought. Normally when you're on the road, it's rough. You know, you've got everything going against you. They're constantly playing that music when your offense is trying to get their play together until like the last couple of seconds. Then the crowd takes over. You end up with like 3 or 4 or 5,000 tickets out of 90 or 100,000. And it's really rough. Well, that's not quite going that way in this game. It says it seems like the Buckeyes' home field advantage could be minimal. Tennessee fans have been buying up tickets like crazy. Barrett Sallee of Sirius and Outkick believes Tennessee could have up to 35% of the stadium in orange. That's shocking to me. They also will be limited in creating a home field advantage for themselves through music and entertainment throughout the game. Tennessee will have an entrance video. They talk about how that's unheard of for a road game. And also, the music is going to be controlled by the college football people and not the Ohio State people. And that makes a significant difference in the environment because, as you know, they play that music really, really loud, and they try to do it while your offense is huddled or they're trying to get a play in, and they're playing it so loud you can't even communicate with the other players on the field. So that being eliminated is significant in my view. Now, clearly Ohio State will have an advantage. They're going to have at least 65, 70. Surely to gosh, they'll have 75% of the seats. So that's big. But I tell you what, these other factors could matter. I mean, it's not an insignificant thing. If we somehow get to 35%, that will shock me. That seems almost impossible, but there is some grumblings in Ohio State land, and there's a lot of people up there that aren't happy with Ryan Day.
Fire Ryan Day.
It's the worst moment of my life. You got to fire Ryan Day.
I'll never recover from this. Fire Ryan Day yesterday.
Now, he's won at 87%, so it's not like he's a bad coach, but he's lost the wrong games. And losing Michigan and losing some of the big games they've lost doesn't sit well with Ohio State fans that are, again, this is a spoiled fan base. They're used to winning at a super high level like Alabama, and they're not liking this. And Michigan on social media is just, they're just being horses' rear ends is what they're doing. And they're mocking them to no end, and they're sick of it. 4 years of listening to Michigan do this in your ear all day long on Twitter and all these other places, it gets old real quick. So that's a big part of it as well. But it's going to be super interesting to see how this plays out, because if Tennessee can get anywhere near 35%, you're almost a neutral site, which that just seems insane to me. That may be some over-reporting there, but who knows? I've seen crazier things. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, 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 hit this little button right here. It won't cost you a dime. Help you get my videos. And right over here is the most recent video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy based on your viewing history. And they are the algorithm. They know all.
Who are you? I am the architect. I created the Matrix. I've been waiting for you.
Anyway, we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.